Hello and welcome to One United. My name is Paritosh Joshi and I'm here along with Ikis Singh and Anshuman Joshi talking about the Sheffield game and a preview for the game against Leeds United. Ikis, first of all, welcome. After a long time, we are seeing your face on the podcast. We hear you now from here now and then, but your face is quite scarce for the past 1 year or so. How are you explaining yourself now?
Well, it's quite difficult because we all are in different
Yeah.
continents, so it is very difficult to match the timings. But it's pretty, I'm pretty happy because after a long time, we have all decided of a correct time, and then we see Wally backing out. So,
Wali will
so
be here next podcast, and I'm asking is this question: why are not picking up calls and why are not replying on the group? Because he's
well,
not.
Wally is just like Pogba's agent, so you can't do much about
Wali is just like Pogba and Anshuman. Let's start with
Mhm.
you about the game. We had a 3-2 win against Sheffield United last night. It's not even 12 hours. It's almost 6, 7 hours prior to our podcast that we won against Sheffield. It was a comeback win. We went behind first and then we came back. Then we were 3-0, 3-1 up at one point. Then we conceded another, and we could have conceded one more, but we played good football. So, what are your thoughts about the win? I'll start with you. And what do you think about the performance?
Well, it's the same old story, isn't it? Like one under the away performance where you go down behind first of all, and then some way or the other we manage to win it. This is like a sixth match in the league that we have gone down behind away from home and then come back to win the game, which is nice. But this isn't exactly a habit that we should really really get attached to, because this is the same thing that happened with Leipzig as well. That we just we are just not able to start the game well in any way, shape, or form. And you would think that putting Henderson in the starting lineup against Sheffield would make some kind of sense, but they just recognized him straight away. Like Chris Wilder knew how to get pressure on him because he was not able to get the ball away quickly, and even in the corners they just started bombarding him. They started uh, you know putting all pressure on him, just covering him from all sides. So from the very beginning, like inside 4 minutes, when a team that has barely gotten a point in the league, when you go behind them, it just makes you worried. Like I still felt that fine in the league we are able to score goals, so we'll be able to come back. But this is exactly the kind of precedent that you want getting into the new year. But because you need some kind of consistency in your performances, and the only thing that is consistent about the performances right now is that we go behind, and that isn't exactly nice. With Sheffield's performance, I was somewhat worried because every match that they go without winning, they became the more dangerous prospect for the next team, right? So
Hmm.
the when we're coming up with 1 point, I just felt that they might be able to outplay us again, because it's not like they're playing badly; they are playing well. It's just things are not
Hmm.
working out for them this season, and it just happens when you are down there in the relegation zone. And again, they
Hmm.
went ahead. David McGold, every single player that they have, they they're absolutely industrious. They always run. So that was always going to be a worry. I think we got somewhat lucky when Sanderberger walked off the pitch, because he's young. He's very good with
Hmm.
defending in the midfield. And he was replaced by Phil Jagielka, who's 38 years old. He was barely able to cope up. So I think that is something that went in our favor. But I just felt that we would have been able to come back and score the goals anyway. So overall,
Hmm.
after that, after when we went behind, we went back, came back into the game, and it's the usual story once again, where we are able to control. And the only thing that was different this time around is that the counter-attacking long balls that we took from the midfield, we were actually able to complete those. So Rashford scored 2 goals, two nice, well-taken goals. That's nice. A goal for Martial, which is good to see because he hadn't been scoring for a long time. And Pogba played a good game. Like this is how Pogba always plays. When you just let him do his thing, he just have one of those matches where he's just unstoppable. And his ball hit, he was able to hold the ball nicely. He was able to counter attack and use his usual skills, which is good to see, at least for him. And yeah, we were running smoothly 3-1 into the game, and then all of a sudden, against the turn of play, we concede from corners, which is again a problem because corners have been our Achilles heel as well. But we were able to win the match, for better or worse, and now we go again 5 points from the top with the game in hand, which is good to think, very good to see. And now we move on to the next match over the weekend.
Yeah, certainly we had a good game. We were able to come back. It was a fighting game for us, and we showed good spirit. Akis, what are your thoughts about the win? And let's talk about the positives first because we have some. We have some topics in store where we're going to talk about the goalkeeping situation and stuff.
The positives I feel are definitely Rashford. I think he
Yeah.
was phenomenal in the game.
Hmm.
Then I think Martial had a so-so game. Not
Yeah, yeah,
really happy. Pogba had a very solid game. I think
yeah.
he was probably the man of the match if he got an assist or a goal, but
Hmm.
he gave it to Rashford anyway. But I feel there were two or three positives, but I think the negatives were more than positives because you're playing against a bottom team in the league.
Hmm.
Then because everybody goes against United in the first 15 minutes because you know they're going to be very nervous. Um, so it's basically like a coin toss. You don't know what side of the United you're gonna get on, and I just feel that there's a lot of inexperience in the team. I don't know why. When
Hmm.
this lot has played a lot of games together, and
Hmm.
I just feel Matic is done. Matt, I don't
Hmm.
think Matic deserves to start. But as you said, the positives, I feel Solskjaer got his substitution spot on. I except what
Hmm.
Van de Beek. I think he made two
Hmm.
substitutions. So
Uh,
I think Van de Beek was very average when he came, but it's
hmm.
another conundrum.
Hmm.
Basically, I feel the Bruno dependency has reduced, and they can do without Bruno from now on, and that's a big positive.
Yeah, certainly there were actually there were three substitutions. There was Juan Mata, Van de Beek, and Scott McTominay in place of
Robert
Bruno
McTominay
Fernandes.
came for like 10 seconds, right?
Scott McTominay, Mason Greenwood, and Anthony Martial.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a good game. There's no denying that. But we have to outweigh everything, and then we come to realization that this is not really a championship beating side. This is not a side that you expect to win Premier League for you if they are struggling against a team who are currently having 1 point in the Premier League after 13 games. After 13 games, they have lost 12 of them. They have only drawn one game and they are having 1 point bottom of the table. So this is just shambolic. I know that they must have shown fighting spirit as well. They will come together. That we haven't won a single game. That they'll be desperate for points. But you have to show resilience and be better in certain situation. And this was the situation. At least the one. I'm happy with that. Let's move on and let's talk about a little bit of negative side of the performance. We have to talk about the form, the inconsistent form, and how things are going to be in the future. There is a lot of talk regarding a lot of players, the coach, and we'll talk about that. How desperate United are for wins right now because after they exit from the Champions League and especially the way they did, this is going to haunt them for at least a month or so if they don't come up with the decent performances to cover it up. I'll start with Akers here. We'll talk about United's inconsistent form. And Akers, like to have your say on the whole topic. How do you feel this is going to be for United the month forward?
I'm basically very confused as a viewer of the team because when you see the reason why Solskjaer played Henderson, he did not have a solid reason. He said they had a very game philosophy. Then he comes and says Henderson. I just wanted to play Henderson. So I think that's very inconsistent. I think Victor Lindelof very very
Akers, can you move closer to the mic because your voice is getting muffled a little bit. You are muted.
I think it's Anthony.
No, no, no. Yeah, you're fine now.
Is it better? It's yours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I feel is the whole goalkeeping situation is very, very difficult. I don't know what they're trying to make of it. The center backs, the defense is very, very inconsistent. Maguire, if he wasn't English, I don't think he was 75 million worth. And coming to Victor Lindelof, I think I'm done with him. He does not deserve to play for a top six side at all. He's so unpredictable. He's so weak in the air. He cannot head the ball properly. He cannot clear the ball properly. And then coming to Matic, I think he's very slow. And besides that, I just think that the coach Solskjaer is not giving correct reasons for players coming in or going out. He cannot just say that Dean Henderson just, I don't know why I played him. I just didn't want to play De Gea today. That's not a valid reason. So for me, the negatives outweigh the positives, as I said before. But coming to the point of the our strongest starting 11, I don't know what they are, but you'll definitely see Maguire there anyway. So that's all I have to
Yeah,
say.
no matter what we say about Maguire, Maguire is going to be in the top 11 because he's been so consistent. I can't imagine one player playing
But he's
every game. He's played
consistent
every
in
Premier League.
playing, not in form.
Yeah, definitely. But still, how is he managing these many games? I'm still in shock because he played all of last season. I think every Premier League game he played, and now since the start of the Premier League, he's played every Premier League game. I think, if I'm not wrong. Uh, I'll talk to Anshuman about the form and what he thinks about the current United side. Anshuman, what are your thoughts about it? And then we'll move on to another problem that is the goalkeeper situation.
Well, it's a classic Jekyll and Hyde situation, isn't it? It's just you look at these sets of players, right? And one day they would just pop up and blow Leipzig out of the park and beat them 5-0, and you would look at them and think these guys can do anything. And we come here and we have talked about countless times how when this team clicks, this team can beat any other team in the world. And we beat PSG and Leipzig in a group. And then again, for things that were completely in our control, we screwed things up and things came to bite us back in the ass, and which is why we have returned back to Europa League, and quite deservedly so, I think. And so yeah, I think there is just no sort of consistency in the way we perform. The same set of players that feel like world beaters the one day against a great side will feel like absolute average performers the next day against a very average side. So there are things that just do not add up. And I think Harry Maguire in itself is a proper representation of Manchester United in itself as well. Because look, credit where credit's due, his performances over the past few months have improved, I think. And the thing with him is that he is a senior player, and he's a good player, right? But he is not that one single leader that everyone looks up to when things go down. And I think for me, that one person is Bruno. And that is the thing. I think that is the thing that we do time and time again, because we have given Harry Maguire the armband. That's pretty much sort of the same thing that we did with Paul Pogba, right? When you buy a player like him for 100 million and you have identified him as the player that you have to build the team around, that you do everything to pander him. And that is the same thing got done in Harry Maguire. We made him the world's best, the world's most expensive centre back. And now he has to become the focal point of your team, because you have to justify it not to anyone else but to yourself. Why have you spent 75 million on? For me, he's a senior player. He's a very good defender, but he's not exactly, he's not central. He's not a central kind of defender leader that you look up to every time things goes out. If I were to give a comparison as to our previous legendary Manchester United side, I would say that he is more of a John O'Shea compared to Nemanja Vidic and Rio Ferdinand. Because look, John O'Shea was a legendary defender in his own right, but he wasn't a centre back that you would look up to throughout the year when things would go down, right? He's a senior figure. He's an important figure
Or
in a
someone like
dressing room. He'll
Yapstam.
become one of the
Or someone like Yapstam. Or someone like Yapstam who
yeah.
has authority on the field. So that I can certainly see why Maguire is being questioned time and again. But I think we'll have to move away from Maguire because Maguire is being bashed quite a lot by Manchester United fans all over the world. And giving him credit because I am not one of the supporters of Maguire. But especially after the Sheffield game, there were a lot of, especially after
I think
I'm
he's
saying,
good. I don't think he's bad, but I just think that the way we celebrate him
uh,
as a leader, he isn't exactly that kind of person. And not that there is anything wrong with it, but when you try to make a person something that he's not, then that becomes a problem in general. So I think we need to give the leadership role to someone else and let Maguire do his thing, because he's not bad at what he does.
Yeah, I think that you have a valid point there. But then coming to the Mason Greenwood situation, what do you think about that? He is not the right kind of a right winger you would have. He cannot find open people. What do you make of him?
Well, I think for starters, Greenwood is not a right winger, right? I think that is the biggest problem that we had going into the season because our right side is completely obsolete when it comes in big
That's
matches
for
because
10 years now.
the our options, right? For the our options, we use Mason Greenwood. He's not a right winger. We use Juan Mata, who for me has never been a right-sided player. He should always have been a number 10. I don't understand why every manager we have had has looked at him and thought, yeah, we'll use him in the right. And the other option is Dan James, who for me again was never a right winger. He has always enjoyed taking the left. And so we had a proper vacuum from the right hand side, and that is just accentuated by the fact that Aaron Van Bissaka, one of our finest defenders, has no attacking output from the right hand side. So our right is pretty much paralyzed. And if some matches we click and some matches we are able to score goals, so that problem does not show up. But most of the times, when you would think that in matches where we have no attacking output, you would realize that right hand side is not a problem, not only a problem for our attacking side of things, but also from the defense because everyone starts bombarding us from that hand side. So that becomes a problem for me. Mason Greenwood, he's 19. He exploded into the scene last season, which was going to happen one way or the other anyway, because he has been very good for our under 21 team. So that was going to happen,
Mm.
but I think he needed to be he needs to be man and managed a lot more a lot more eloquently, articulately, or more pragmatically. Things haven't worked out for him that nicely, because the whole Iceland thing happened earlier in the season, and maybe
Mm.
it's one of those seasons which brings him back to the reality. Right now that he's exploded into the professional scene, he needs to understand
Mm.
both sides of it. Like you're gonna have the highest of highs and you're gonna have the lowest of lows. So those are the things you're gonna have to make peace with. He also did not have a
I
very good nice time when his close friend Jeremy Weston from Manchester City's academy committed suicide. So in general,
Yeah.
he's having quite a season. So I think this is one of the
Mm.
seasons where he'll come good. He'll grow up. Is one of the seasons for youngsters where things do not come good. I think he'll come good, and eventually he'll be moving to the number 9 position because that's where I think he deserves to be.
But but coming to that point, why is he not playing at number 9, and why is
Uh,
Martial preferred? That
No,
is,
there is a reason for it. There's a quite solid reason for it, and I believe that I have some idea of what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is thinking because we the one player which you can remember who was highly backed was Jesse Lingard because he was scoring goals for us and he was quite good. He scored in the FA Cup final. He one or two goals and everybody was hyping him up as the next big thing. The next thing you know, he went throughout the season without scoring and he scored finally in the last game of the Premier League last season. However, the things were in his personal life. But if he was a top quality player, he would have. He's not a very good top 10 kind of player in the world. He's an average player who was playing well for us because he is hardworking. Now that he's in a tough situation, he is not playing well, and now everybody is on his back. We don't need this similar situation playing out for Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood was scoring for us from left and right, both feet, in the last season when he came, and everybody was shocked because nobody was expecting that kind of situation. That Mason Greenwood would be shooting from the left and the right. He was doing all sorts of things. Now that his game is being read, and now teams know that okay, this is a player that we need not to give the ball to and put him in a tough spot because if we give him only a meter, he'll be scoring. If we give him a yard, he'll be scoring goal no matter which foot he lands the ball on. So now the teams are more aware. Plus, the thing with Greenwood is that I've seen time and again he's selfish. He's a little selfish player, and which is a given if you're a striker. You have to be a little selfish if you're a top striker, and that's perfectly okay. But your quality is still not there that you can score every time you have the ball. You have to pass the ball as well, and that's where Greenwood lacks a bit because I've seen it time and again. He's in a very tough situation where he can let go of the ball and give it to someone like Martial or Rashford, and he just goes on to shoot, goes for the glory. And that's why Mason Greenwood needs to be controlled and not given the whole of the freedom at Manchester United, because then it'll go to his head. And we have seen this gone wrong for many players. So we don't want similar situation for Greenwood. And I think that's what the situation is regarding Solskjaer and Greenwood. Is there any other player I want to talk about? There is one.
I just wanted to add on the Greenwood situation. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever you have said is valid, but coming to a
Mhm.
point where Rashford and Martial each miss at least 3 or 4 chances a game, not like in a week
But
or. But
yeah,
if
certainly.
those chances to Greenwood, he would finish 95, 99. He'll probably miss
We
one.
But he was not. No, that's the reason why he was being held back, because one or two games, if you remember, yes, he scored a blinder in the game against where we come back against West Ham, I think, where we came back 3-1 to win. That was the West Ham game, right? So he scored a fantastic goal that time when he received the ball on the turn and shot from his left. That was a fantastic goal, no doubt. But if you remember against Leipzig, he had a fantastic chance in the last game last night. He had the ball on his right. He was on the right side of the box. He could have easily given the ball back, dragged back, but he tried shooting it to the near post, and he had like two, three defenders in front of him. And we know Greenwood can score, but it's not necessary that you shoot every time. You have to keep the defender thinking, and that's what this season will do for Greenwood. I think there should be a season where a player should be held back and not given all the freedom. I think the next season will be there when he'll be given all the freedom.
But
One
then
season
again,
he'll
that does not stand. I think the points you said are valid, but then again, to counter attack that would be Mbappe. When he came, he was 19. He was
certainly,
playing.
certainly, certainly.
But
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 he was a world
also
beater.
also
He
one
was
more. When Rashford or Martial play, they both at least shoot 4 or 5 times in a game, and they miss 90% of the chances.
they
I want
miss.
to see.
That
I
is
want
all right. That is fine. I
to
get your point. I completely get your point. Yeah, I get your point. But the thing is, Greenwood. I have advocated this many times that for me he's a number nine. He should be played at number nine. He'll end up in a number nine. That is fine. Right now, Cavani is injured. Right. So our best two options that when we talk about our attack, the two players that are going to be part of our team are Martial and Marcus Rashford. Neither of them, compared to Greenwood, have are right wingers. Right. Like yeah, I would put an argument that Rashford started from the right hand side. He could go there. He has played there this season. But the only problem is that if you try to play Greenwood in the center, it disrupts the harmony of the other two. And we can sit
Hmm.
here and we can debate about how Rashford for me, Rashford would feel more like a striker to you and would feel more like a winger to me, and how we can say how Martial isn't exactly a right sided, he's central player, he's right sided, and all that. But when we try to put Greenwood into the team right now, this is what I feel Solskjaer is thinking that they have tried to make a number nine out of Martial and Rashford. I think we had identified a couple of years ago that he's very good when he comes from the left hand side. So when we try to put Greenwood into the side, I think this is the reasoning why they are starting from left and his Martial is starting from the number nine, and why Greenwood is starting from the right hand side. I would still say he will end up in number nine, and maybe we can find out different permutations, but what I feel the reason is right now.
Yeah, there is added everything. We are not advocating anything that Greenwood shouldn't be given time or something like that. I'm just saying that this is what I think are the reasons why he's not being consistently in the side. We all want Greenwood to be regular in the side. Greenwood is someone who should be starting because he's a talented bloke. I just think that there is an idea behind him not getting the game time that everybody feels like he should be getting. Not everybody, but a major chunk of people who feel like he should be there every game, because we don't want to exhaust him first of all, and there is a lot of load on his shoulders, not only professionally but personally as well. So we because he has been the media is not the same as it was when someone like Ronaldo Nazario came in, because the social media and stuff has changed the scenario a lot, and Greenwood should be protected a bit, and that's why I feel he's not being given that much game time. Moving on, I think we have had enough talk about this particular situation. There is a lot of other things as well, and one of them is the goalkeeper conundrum. We had a talk about it off stream, and I think we'll have to catch up on this as well. The goalkeeping situation, and Ekas and me were talking about it, that we have at least three goalkeepers who are easily available for the top 10 sides in the Premier League, who can start for any of the top 10 sides, and we won't bat an eye. De Gea, Romero, and Henderson. Henderson is not having a fantastic time, but he's a great goalkeeper. We can't deny that. So, what is the situation with these three, and how do you think Manchester United is failing to deal with them? I'll start with Anshuman first. Anshuman, what do you think is the situation regarding the goalkeepers, and how do you think this could turn out in a better way for United than it is turning out to be?
Well, I'll get Sasha Romero out of the way because I just feel that given what the services that he has given to us as the club, I think we have done massive disrespect to him, to be perfectly
Yeah.
honest. Because I remember when he came into the side and he made his debut in the Premier League, and that was the time when David De Gea was absolutely certain to be moving to Real Madrid when their fax machine broke down. And
Hmm.
that was the time that he was brought into the side. He was supposed to be a number one. He sat as number two. Every time he came,
Hmm.
every time we introduced him into starting 11, he has played brilliantly for us. If he hadn't had a brilliant game, he has had a decent game. On all that time when David De Gea was playing, David De Gea was making mistakes, and we were sitting here deliberating how his performances had fallen. Sergio Romero, every time he came, he gave a solid 7 out of 10 at the very least. Now, when you brought in Dean Henderson back, that's fine. Dean Henderson is one of the most highly rated goalkeepers in the league, and that means that now we have two goalkeepers better than Sergio Romero, which means that he's now surplus to our requirements. That's fine. If you need to let him go, that's fine. But I just don't think I feel like a club of Manchester or Manchester United stature, or maybe even a professional football club should be able to communicate this to their goalkeeper in a better way. I just don't like the way he has been held. Absolutely ostracized from the side. There is no communication on their part. He has countless times. His wife has come out. He has come out countless times and said that he wants to leave. He needs to leave. There were links with Everton as well. I just don't understand that when you have two goalkeepers as good as De Gea and Henderson, why can't you just simply let Romero go? Why did you have to vilify him and create a situation as bad as it has gotten now? Because he is going to go inevitably. There are links from Spain to get him off the United's books, and I hope that he gets a decent move, and I hope he gets a move where he's respected more than we have given him. Because I don't think we have handled him in the last 6 months properly, and I wish we could have done things differently. And yeah, that's about it for Romero. Because I just think we have very very badly mishandled him, and we shouldn't have had. And as far as things with Henderson and De Gea go, I just don't understand what's going on with De Gea, because as we talked about after Southampton game, he had a knock. It was a knock on the knee, and he was walking very gingerly. He came out at halftime, and I thought that was it. Maybe they will have a scan. It will be knee injury, and even if
Hmm.
it's not a serious one, he'll keep him out for at least a couple of months. And what
Hmm.
happened after that? He came back for the PSG match, and call
Hmm.
this confirmation bias on my part, right? But I just felt that he was not. He was walking very gingerly in that match as well, and I thought, why is he here? Like, why is he here? Like, if it's an injury, let put him on the sidelines. We have a very able goalkeeper in Dean Henderson. Let him play. I will take a healthy player over an injured De Gea every single day. I think the player welfare comes into a massive discussion here. And then again, he was rested for the West Ham game, which made me worried all the more. Like, why did you have to risk if he wasn't good able to play against PSG? Why did you have to risk him? His welfare is more important to me than going through in the Champions League. I'm very sorry. If he was playing with the knock, that is a very that is not something I can get on board with. Then again, in the Leipzig match, he was starting, and I just launched into people on Twitter. I was just like, I just don't understand why he's starting. And people thought I was saying that because I don't believe in De Gea's qualities. David De Gea, up until that point, had been performing very, very steadily for us. To be perfectly honest, he had his defensive issues last season. He was making a lot of mistakes. This season, up until the Leipzig match, he did not. He barely made any mistake. And kudos to him. He
Hmm.
had been performing well. I have said this previously as well, that Dean's arrival in the team has maybe catapulted him a bit. That he maybe gave him in a boost that he needed. But in that match, I just feel, again, you can say this is confirmation bias on my part, but I feel that he was diving for the goals a lot more slowly. I just feel that he wasn't up to it. I think this is something that Scholes said during in the match as well. That I remember the goal, that the third goal Leipzig scored, right? And had they not scored that goal, maybe we would have drawn. Maybe we would be in the Champions League knockout right now. There
Hmm.
are so many factors here, right? I remember that goal, the third goal, and
But that was more of a
I just
Maguire's
feel
fault,
that
no?
he
That was
doesn't
more
come.
of Maguire's fault. I think that was
That
more of
goal was
Maguire's fault.
Maguire's fault. No, we can say more of Maguire's fault, right? But when I look at that goal, the only thing that uh, glares out for me is the fact that David De Gea didn't come out quick enough, and once he did not come out quick enough, I just felt that he was somewhat scared, launching him into Paulson. I think the third goal was scored by Paulson. I just felt that he was not. I just felt he wasn't ready enough. I looked at that. I have looked at that replay countless number of times, and I just feel like he's somewhat reluctant in his mind. Maybe this is because of the fact that he was carrying an injury, and it has just racked my mind. Like, if you have a player right there whose injury is stopping him from making those crucial goals or goal stopping decisions that could have taken us to the Champions League knockouts, then he shouldn't have been there, right? And I look at that replay and I'm telling myself that there is no way, if Dean Henderson is playing there, he's not coming out quickly and clattering into Paulson. And that is something that we needed at the time, which brings me back to my biggest doubt. Like, is anyone even able to figure out if the David De Gea has a longer problem that should needed to be treated? And people on Twitter, told me that if the Manchester United's medical staff thinks that that he's good enough to play, why do you have a problem? My question is, I don't really trust Manchester United's medical staff because I said this before the season started. We have had
Hmm.
a lot of problems figuring out the long-term diagnoses that our players have needed. That the most
Ye-
recent examples I'll give you, like the one with Romelu
Paul
Lukaku,
Pogba,
where he
Paul
had
Pogba,
gastronomic
Paul
issues
Pogba,
throughout his. I'll
Paul
come to Paul Pogba.
Pogba.
I'll come to Paul
Yeah,
Pogba
Romelu
because
Lukaku.
Lukaku is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
here anymore. So,
Huh.
yeah, so Romelu Lukaku had gastronomic problems throughout his time at Old Trafford. 2 years, no one was able to figure out. We all sat here and we made fun of his body weight and his first touch and everything. He went to Inter. The first thing the medical staff tells him there that you are carrying a problem, a long-term problem that you need to deal with first and foremost. And then he comes out in his first interview, he talks and he says that I had no idea I was dealing with this. So that is the first red flag. The second thing, Paul Pogba, last season, he was carrying an ankle injury, I think. He
Three
played through
injuries,
that
three
injury for
different
months
injuries.
and months,
Two
months.
injuries, two different injuries. Two
Yeah,
different
he was
injuries.
carrying those
First,
injuries, and
yeah.
then he went off to have surgery. And his personal doctor came out and said surgery, and then there was this whole debate about why is he having a personal doctor. I'm like, why wouldn't he have a personal doctor? Why wouldn't any other player have a personal doctor if
He
your
went to
own
Dubai.
medical staff, the club's own medical staff, is not able to tell you this?
He went to Dubai. I think he
Yeah.
was in Dubai for
So
a
Paul
month or so.
Pogba,
He was in Dubai for a
yeah,
month or so, and he did the
yeah,
surgery. The worst thing about it was Paul Pogba is so much vilified that Pogba had to post an Instagram post or a story that, "Oh, guys, I am really having a surgery. Look, my feet is plastered. I can't play." He was vilified
yeah.
all
He
over
was
the
heavily
internet.
sedated. He was heavily sedated
Yeah,
at
he
that
was
moment.
like, okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
just
remember
did my
that.
surgery, and I felt so bad for the guy. I was like, dude, he actually had to post something to ensure people that he's not running away, he's actually injured, and that's so bad on United's part. Yeah, certainly that is very bad. I'll come to Ikis now. Ikis, what do you think about this particular situation, the goalkeeper conundrum, and what do you think is the way forward for United?
I feel that the the thing what Henderson did early on in the game, I think he's still miles behind De Gea. That's what I feel. If there's a fit De Gea, I don't think there is any contention of Henderson playing. But it's the whole board of United is just so inexperienced, having three good goalkeepers and all. To win a league, you need one consistent goalkeeper. If you have two, then I have not personally seen where there are two goalkeepers in one league, in one team playing, and they have success. So you need to have your defenders and your goalkeepers completely certain. I think Soshar does have his favorites for the defenders, but the goalkeeper situation is not at all where he can have two goalkeepers, according to me. But I feel that Henderson is very slow in diving. I think he saved us. And okay, coming to the point, what if we did not win today's game? Who would you blame? Simple.
Yeah, it'll be on Dean Henderson
Yeah,
because he
and
can. Yeah.
that is my complete analysis. That
No, not really, not really. Actually, when I think about it, it was the defense who put him in the position that he was in. Yes, Henderson was at fault, but I've seen, and I want to talk about this. I have not seen a team which is in top four or top six of any league play in their D the times that I've seen Manchester United. Manchester United in a game, there are five, six times at least every game when we are passing in our own D. How
and
is
four
that
of them will
possible?
be from Lindelof.
Maguire, Lindelof, anybody. I don't care. You are playing one two passes with the goalkeeper. That's not the way to play. This is the way to play in
And
midfield.
they have given another goal where they have gave it to Fred.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because it puts pressure on the defense, right? It puts pressure on the goalkeeper. It puts pressure on the defense. You don't play for that, and it's not only like you're playing this against the top six sides. You are trying to build from. This is against sides like Sheffield, and this is the reason why the Dean Henderson
But
goal was
also
conceded
the
because
main point of for me is from 1 year or maybe longer. Dea is not giving proper ball. He's not giving the proper ball from the goal kick. His ball distribution is horrible, and every time you have a goal kick or whatever, Our players don't get the ball. If you see that, we don't get it that
Mm,
often.
mm.
And this is the problem that we begin with. They get the ball, they head it, and they take the possession. And then coming to the point, why do they do these passes? Because the ball distribution is horrible. So
But you can still, if you're,
Edison's ball distribution is unbelievable, and that is the reason. So Behia does not have great ball distribution, and this gives the defenders more pressure to take passes in the D, and then they
uh,
screw up
do you think
automatically.
do you think there are players who have a poor long ball first touch? That could be a problem because De Gea had a fantastic ball distribution when Wayne Rooney was playing, or someone like Adnan Januzaj had a great season when he came into the side, although he was not good later on. But when these guys were playing, De Gea's ball distribution was fantastic, if I
I think
remember correctly.
it's gone down a lot, but coming to Lukaku
But
or whoever, Igalo, Lukaku, Rashford. I mean, Rashford's first touch today was unbelievable, but it may be. But when you see Rashford, Martial, whoever is there in Mason Greenwood,
mm,
Bruno, De Gea is the common factor who's giving the ball. So for me, I think De Gea is not giving
I'll
the
add
ball.
something. I like to add something
Goalkeeper
here.
conundrum.
I like to
yeah,
add
yeah,
something.
I
yeah.
feel the goalkeeper conundrum. I
So,
feel De Gea is
we were talking about
One second. Ekas,
why Rooney and
one second.
Januzaj.
One second, Anshuman. Let Ekas complete. Ekas, you complete, then we'll talk. We'll
yeah.
let Anshuman
I
talk.
De Gea is miles ahead of Henderson. Where Henderson will be challenging in a year or two, but I think what Solskjaer is definitely scared about is losing Henderson because he's England's main goalkeeper now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Definitely. I think that is a given.
That
That
is
is
why,
a given, and
yeah,
that is why he played against Sheffield. That's why he played against Sheffield because there were statements that Dean Henderson is looking for a loan deal out because he's not
I,
getting game
I
time,
would
and
loan him if they had a proper relationship with Romero, but now they don't. So no, now they cannot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Certainly, this is an issue. Anshuman, you would like to add something? We'll take your thoughts and then we'll complete this
Yeah,
segment.
yeah. So we were talking about why De Gea's distribution was not a problem against Rooney and Januzaj. Well, for starters, this whole goalkeeper playing out from the back thing wasn't really legal back then, right? This whole allowance has come into play from last season, where they have allowed the defenders to stick around with the goalkeeper so that they can just pass the ball to them. This did not exist in 2014, right? So let's get this out of the way. De Gea's distribution is fine. As far as I'm concerned, that is average fine. If we compare any goalkeeper's distribution to Edison, I think that is massively unfair to them because Edison is a completely different breed. He's pretty much a midfielder when it comes to distribution. He's amazing. And I think Akers put a a brilliant point here. Like both you, Akers and Paritosh, like Dean Henderson was looking out for a loan move. And that is the reason why he has started including him more and more in the starting 11. My biggest problem here is that De Gea needs a proper diagnosis. And if he's injured, put him out of the side and put Dean Henderson in. That is all I ask. And yes, again, if we had good terms with Sergio Romero, maybe this would not have been the situation we find ourselves in. And yet here we are. And we don't really have the kind of defenders that can play out from the back. We don't even have those goalkeepers. We don't have those defenders. I think this is more obligated from the coaching side of things. They make you start to do those backward passes. We aren't really good at that. We shouldn't be doing it. The another example that I would say that the team that frustratingly does this is Arsenal. And as long as they are winning their FA Cups, that was fine. But now they find themselves in the predicament they are in. So they are also made a joke out of. So I don't think we should be playing out from the back. I think they hear Henderson, whoever
Yeah,
should
yeah,
play. I think they should be allowed to just kick the ball out front because that's not
yeah,
something they
yeah.
are good at.
Yeah,
Not right
yeah,
now.
certainly. Yeah, certainly. No, we are not a team that should be playing out from the web because we don't have the prowess to deal with the pressure that comes along with it. And I think I say this for everyone on the panel right now that Romero should be given a way out and respectfully given a Tata from the club because we are not showing him enough respect the way he has shown us. Also, the fact that Dean Henderson should be played in place of De Gea, and De Gea should have had the surgery that he should have had earlier. But I think he needs something because there is a definite hindrance on his part. Yeah,
It's something.
he needs
The
something. He needs something because there is.
point of the medical staff, we had the same problem when Owen Hargreaves was here.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he
yeah,
said something about this. Then there was another player I'm forgetting in between who said United.
Midfielder.
Who was it?
I think it was Anderson. I think Anderson was it.
There was another one, but there are a lot of players who come up and say this, but I don't even know about the medical staff if they're changing it or is it the same. But United do need to improve their medical staff.
Yeah, certainly there should be some improvements, and if we need to have top players, there needs to be top treatment for them to play consistently. And we'll move from this topic now, and we'll come to the final segment. This is about Leeds United. We'll talk about the Leeds United preview for a bit, and then we'll be signing off from the show. Manchester United against Leeds. Ekis, we'll start with you. Who do you think is going to start for United? We'll quickly wrap this up and then have predictions.
I think they'll start with De Gea. I think they'll have the same four defenders as today, and I think Fred will start in place of Matic, and it'll be Pogba again, Bruno,
Hmm.
Mason, and Rashford. And if Cavani is fit, Cavani might start as number 9. So, but it'll be a tactical masterclass, I feel. On Bielsa is just going to go for it.
Yeah, Bielsa is going to press us, and there's going to be trouble because his team scores goals. We'll have to see how this goes. Anshuman, what are your thoughts about the predicted 11, and who do you think is going to start for United?
Well, as far as the starting 11 go, I hope this is not the same starting 11 that he starts on Sunday, because this is not a midfield that will be able to survive Leeds in any way, shape, or form. Like, if
Hmm.
you watch the last match Leeds had against Newcastle, they scored their 3 goals completely against the run of play. And up until that
Hmm.
point, I was slightly feeling relieved that maybe Leeds were not clinical enough with the finishing. That doubt for me was corrected in their last match, because they are as clinical as they've ever been from the start of the season. They will already outrun you. That is an absolute given. So we're gonna have to win, figure out a way to win despite that. And if we start with Matic and Pogba in a midfield, I don't think we have any chance. I think it will be in the first 10, 20 minutes. It could just as well be 3-4 nil, because out of the gates we are not able to start properly, and that is exactly when Leeds will try to counter us and get ahead on us. So I think we need a proper industrious midfield. I think Scott McTominay and Fred has a very good opportunity to be start. I think they'll start behind Bruno. And I think as far as the goalkeeper go, I just hope that the one who is fit starts. I don't want an unfit De Gea for his sake, not for the team. And
Hmm.
if Cavani is fit, yes, I think he should play, because he is already going to face a three-match ban. So
Pogba,
if he's fit, he'll be getting his chances as much as he can.
Yeah, because you were saying something.
he won't bench Pogba with this form.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what I was coming to. That I think it is going to be Pogba, Bruno, and Fred in the starting 11. I think that's our best bet against a side, because we.
I personally feel McTominay would be a better choice, but
But
he was
McTominay is not the same player he was 1 season ago. McTominay is not
I
in the form that he was.
amazing against City. I think he would.
Yeah, he was good against City, but he was not the Scott McTominay we knew from 1 season earlier, where he was bullying the other opposition's midfield.
Because I feel Solskjaer is not playing him consistently. He is on and
The,
off with almost
the
every player who plays well. He benches them. Then you see Mata's form. Mata was playing very well in the
Yeah,
start,
yeah,
and then he
yeah.
benched. So
Yeah, there is a situation regarding that, but right now we have to pick our best. No, the best bet is, I think,
I
Fred,
don't think
because Fred is good.
Pogba is very good as a CDM. So
No,
I
no, Pogba is not going to play CDM. If there is going to be a situation where Fred is going to play just in front of defenders, Bruno is going to have a free run in the midfield, and Pogba is going to play a little bit of an attacking role. There can also be a situation where we play 2-4-4. I don't really know. There can be a situation where if Cavani is not fit, we play Martial or Rashford, and then four midfielders and then four defenders. We never know. We never know who will start. So we'll have to.
Maguire will start though. I'm telling you that.
Maguire, Lindelof are going to start. Tuanzebe and Bailly can shrug off in
Honestly,
the
he's
corner.
outside the Champions League. I've not seen that guy. I think I've seen him once. I've not
Arey
seen.
yaar, I'm very disappointed by the treatment of Tuanzebe, but we'll talk about it some other day. I think that's it from our side about the Leeds game. We'll talk about the final thing, that is the predictions. We'll take the final prediction. I'll talk to Akis first. Akis, who do you think is going to win, and what are your predictions about the scoreline in this particular game?
I feel that we're going to concede at least 2 goals, and we might score two. So I'm going for a 2-2 or a 3-3. I don't have any expectations against Bielsa. I think he's gonna destroy us tactically, but scoreline might suggest different. But we've been horrible at home. So
Anshuman, what do you think is going to be the scoreline?
Well, Leeds are good, very good, but they are not infallible. And Manchester United, there is no person on this planet right now that can tell you how good or how bad Manchester United are going to play. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-2 either way. 3-2 either
Three
way.
two,
You have no idea
three
how
two.
the match is going to play out because there's no way of knowing how Manchester United will play.
Yeah, it can be. That's what I was going to say. For me, it is going to be a very high-scoring game. I think there's no chance there is going to be a 0-0 or a 1-1. There's no chance. There is going to be goals because Leeds also play very aggressive football, and United love it when teams come press them because then you have space at the back and then you can counter because
you
that's
know,
all. That's all we can do.
first 15 minutes, and United will concede. That you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, 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 yeah. That everybody knows. I think that if Bielsa presses us the way he usually does with the Bielsa swarm, there is going to be a goal against us, and I think that's going to be the situation. For me, it is going to be a very high scoring game. I'm going to be a little adventurous, and I'll say 5-4. Let's see, 5-4 United. An amazing game. We'll have entertainment galore. I'm just going off on a hint here. So I think that's it from our side at One United. We conclude our thoughts about everything regarding Sheffield and Leeds. This is me, Partha Joshi, Ekas Singh, and Anshuman Joshi signing off here from One United. We'll see you guys again, hopefully after the Sheffield game. Sheffield, sorry, after the Leeds game. Sheffield game we have already covered.